Good morning, GRU.
Good morning. Good morning.
Got a little crackly throat there. As I see the leaves on, my name is Brenda Moen, and I've been attending since 2018. As I see leaves accumulating on my back lawn, and I feel the crispness in the air in the morning, and perhaps it's my career spent in education, but fall always feels special to me. A fresh start, a time to start something new, promise of better things to come, a getting back into regular routine after running wild all summer. I'm happy to be settled back into my favorite GRU activities, regular services, clubs, meetups, and I'm looking forward to those key events that the year is built around, like Coffee House, Dream Auction, to name just a few. And in the spirit of this weekend, I am thankful for all of it. If you are new here, welcome. You can find out what is happening in the tab, our website, or our Facebook page. This week and this month, there are all kinds of things happening. Look at one of them and come out to that event. I think you will find what I have found. This is a great place to meet nice people to have fun with. And please join us downstairs after the service for coffee and treats and time to talk. We have an announcement from Corliss.
Good morning. As you know, the Voices group that is doing letter writing on various campaigns would normally be meeting this Sunday, but because it's Thanksgiving and both of the kingpins of that are away, they're going to meet next Sunday. So if you're not on the email list, you might not have known that. And the topic chosen for next week is actually Gaza. And Martin sent out an email to people on the list, and I'll just read a couple of sentences from it. It's a fast evolving situation. People may have different views on the topic, so it is a reminder to us that we do not all have to have the same perspective as we support each other to write our views and requests. On top of that, as always, you can choose to write on a different topic. The idea is to provide mutual support as we engage in various issues that are urgent, compelling, and demand our attention. Thank you.
Hey, Carlos. Now, in the words of Jan Smith, welcome. Welcome to this place. Whatever path has brought you here, whatever load you carry, let us rest a while together. May our hearts be open to accept what comes to us as a stranger. May our minds be open to wonder at what we do not understand, and may our spirits be nourished by our time here together, before we again take up our loads and set off upon our many paths once more. Now please rise in body or spirit for our opening hymn number 67, Sing We Now Together.
Good morning and happy Thanksgiving. Will those willing to participate in a responsive reading please turn to 656 in the back of the gray hymnals, number 656. Harvest of Gratitude is written by Percival Chubb. If you would respond with the italics. Once more the fields have ripened to harvest, and the fruitful earth has fulfilled the promise of spring. The work of those who labor has been rewarded. They have sown and reaped, planted and gathered. How rich and beautiful is the bounty gathered, the golden grain and clustered corn, the grapes of purple and green. Season follows after season, after winter the spring, after summer the harvest-laden autumn. From bud to blossom, from flower to fruit, from seed to bud again, the beauty of earth unfolds. From the harvest of the soil we are given occasion to garner a harvest of the heart and mind. A harvest of reverence for the wondrous power and life at work in things that grow and in the soul. A harvest of gratitude for every good which we enjoy, and a fellowship for all who are sustained by earth's beauty. We'll light our chalice. Let this flame be to us a symbol of the wholeness we seek. Its glow reminding us of the sacred bonds which link us to all people. Its radiance calling us to seek justice, equity, and compassion for all the world. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer, to dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humanity in harmony with the earth. Thus do we covenant together. Children of all ages are invited forward for a story with Nicholas.
Good morning. This story is called Bagels from Benny. It's by Audrey Davis and illustrated by Susan Patricic. The sun was just waking up when Benny ran downstairs to Grandpa's bakery. He always helped Grandpa before he went to school. He swept the floor and dusted the shelves. He put cookies and cakes on the counter. He put bagels and buns in the bins. Benny loved to help his grandpa. People bustled in and out of Grandpa's bakery all day long. Some bought bread and bought cake. Some bought apple strudel. Everyone bought bagels. Grandpa baked the best bagels in town. So crusty outside, Mrs. Silver declared. So soft inside, added Mr. Gold. You put love in your bagels, gushed Mrs. Green. Thank you so much. Grandpa handed Mrs. Green a bag full of bagels. Why thank me, he asked. And who else should I be thanking, laughed Mrs. Green. Just then the clock struck 8. We'll be late for work, cried Miss Silver. Dear me, gasped Mr. Gold. Toodaloo, sang Mrs. Green, and they scurried out the door. Benny was puzzled. Why shouldn't Mrs. Green thank you? You make the bagels. Grandpa lifted Benny onto the counter. "Benny," he asked, "aren't bagels made with flour?" "Yes," said Benny. "Doesn't flour come from wheat?" "Yes," Benny nodded. "Where does that come from?" "From the earth," answered Benny. "And who made the earth?" "God did," Benny replied. Grandpa smiled. "Then thank God for the bagels." It was a good idea. Benny closed his eyes. "Thank you, God," he whispered. Then he waited. "Did he hear me, Grandpa?" "You ask difficult questions," Grandpa chuckled. "God always hears you." But Benny wasn't so sure. If God really had heard him, why didn't he answer? At school that day, Benny did no work. He didn't read and he didn't write. At recess, he sat alone in the shade of a tall maple tree. "What's wrong?" asked his teacher. "What's wrong?" asked his friends. "I'm thinking," Benny sighed. Benny was still thinking when he went to bed that night. Maybe God didn't answer because I didn't thank him properly. He yawned. Maybe there's some other way to thank God for his bagels. Benny fell asleep. Early Friday morning, a little sunbeam danced into Benny's bedroom. It jumped into his pillow and tickled his eyelid until they opened. Benny's eyes sparkled with the sunlight. Suddenly, he had an idea. He leapt out of bed and ran downstairs. That morning, Benny worked very hard in the bakery. "Grandpa," he asked, "would you pay me for my work?" Grandpa raised his eyebrows. "Pay you? How much?" "A bag of bagels," replied Benny. "Why bagels?" Grandpa asked. "It's a secret," whispered Benny. Grandpa laughed and gave Benny a huge bag of bagels. Benny took them to the synagogue. This is where people speak to God, he thought. Maybe I can thank him in there. He opened the door and peeked inside. It was dark and very still. Benny trembled. Maybe I shouldn't. It's not prayer time. But Benny took a deep breath and walked in. He tiptoed past wooden benches. He climbed the stairs into a big wooden cupboard, the Holy Ark. His heart pounded. He could barely breathe. Maybe I shouldn't open it. Maybe God won't like it. The Torah is inside. It's his special book. But Benny took a deep breath and pulled the doors open. "King of the universe," he whispered, "I brought you some bagels. I know you make them, but you never taste them because Grandpa sells every last one." Benny put the bag in the ark. He closed the door. "Thank you for making the best bagels in town," Benny whispered. Then he ran off to school. On Saturday, Benny and Grandpa went to the synagogue. Everyone prayed and sang, but not Benny. He kept his eyes on the door of the ark. Had God eaten the bagels, he wondered? When the ark was opened and the Torah was taken out, Benny looked inside. The bagels were gone. His heart skipped and his eyes danced. "I'm so glad you like them," he whispered. "I'll bring you more." Week after week, Benny worked in Grandpa's bakery. Every Friday, Grandpa gave him bagels. And every Friday, Benny gave the bagels to God. Grandpa became curious. What was his grandson doing with all those bagels? On Friday, he followed Benny to the synagogue. He waited in the shadow and watched. "They're still warm, just the way you like it," murmured Benny. He opened the ark and put the bag of bagels inside. "What are you doing?" Grandpa bellowed. Benny spun around. "Grandpa," he gasped, I'm thanking God." "You're putting bagels in God's holy ark?" cried Grandpa. "But he likes bagels," insisted Benny. "Every week he eats them all." "Oh, Benny," Grandpa laughed. "God doesn't need to eat. He doesn't have a mouth or a stomach. He doesn't even have a body. He doesn't? Benny frowned. Then where did the bagels go? Grandpa looked at the ark. He looked at Benny. He stroked his beard and scratched his head. I don't know, he sighed. Suddenly, the front door creaked open. Grandpa put a finger on his lip and pulled Benny into the shadows. In walked a man with a tattered coat. He took the bag of bagels from the ark. "Oh, Lord, I was so hungry," he sobbed. "For weeks you fed me. From heaven you sent such beautiful bagels." He tucked the bag under his coat. "I have good news for both of us," he said. "I have found work." He wiped away his tears. "Now I can feed myself, and you can stop making bagels." The man smiled as he quietly closed the cupboard. "You help me, Lord. Now I promise to help others." Then he left. Benny buried his face in Grandpa's coat and wept. "God didn't eat my bagels. That poor man took them." Grandpa's eyes grew wide with wonder. "Benny," he asked, "you wanted to thank God?" "Yes," Benny sniffed. "Well, you did," said Grandpa. "How?" Benny asked. "Didn't you give bagels to a hungry man?" asked Grandpa. "Yes," Benny replied. "Didn't he promise to help others?" "Yes," Benny nodded. "Then you made the world a little better," said Grandpa. "I did?" Benny wondered. "You did," Grandpa smiled. And what better thanks could God have?
Our offertory today is from the words of Reverend Suzelle Lynch. We dedicate our gifts, freely given, gratefully received, through the work of this congregation, the work of building honest, caring relationships across all lines of difference, growing in spirit and searching for meaning together and apart, promoting freedom, practicing compassion, and working for justice. May these gifts and the work of our hands and hearts give power to all we stand for as a community. The offering will now be collected.
Becky. That was beautiful. Live and love and learn. Live and love and learn together. And as the sheaths rose year after year, so our lives unfolded together, and communities made a geometric geography of generations. Time and talent, and we learned to smash the grain, separate its parts, steal the goodness from land, winnowed chaff from staff, the stuff of life, the stalk and greatness of grain, grown taller than a man, threshed gold, fed flesh. Humankind experimented, and with rings and fire made wheels and kilns, made millstones and ovens, took the toughness out of grain, made palatable, filled bellies, made more babies, filled more tummies. Bread was life, and death without. We kneaded the grain and mixed it soft, learned of leavening, leaving it to rise and rise and rise. From some, made more. We knelt to knead the dough, tilling it like milky soil, turning it over and over in our hands, and pasted it against stones, shaping it, shaping us. Basted then and baked, could store the more. Every culture has its curiosities, gaining bread from grain, curing the mixture, making bread of corn, potatoes, rye, rice, and more, shaping it into anpan, arepa, babas, bagels, and baguettes, bannock, banana, batura, and bing, biscuit, and brioche, challah, ciabatta, chapati, crepe, crumpet, cornbread, dinkelbrot, dosa, himbasha, flatbreads, flat as a pancake, focaccia and pita, matzo and naan, papadum, pumpernickel, potato, rice, and rye, sourdough, scone or sopapilla, tafton or tortilla, white or wheat, yufka, zopf, and zwieback. And you thought at breakfast you may choose just white or brown. Do you know on which side your bread is buttered? It is the greatest thing since sliced bread, this plate for plenty, so essential a foundation for our food, well-being, that bread itself is slang for money. It makes the world go round. We can make the world we want if you have the dough. Grain observes no borders, boundaries, and where it grew, kingdoms followed. And where there is more, some will have more to protect, to covet, to hoard. So essential, Greeks adopted Demeter, unlikely goddess of grain and harvest. Romans called her Ceres, cereal queen, on whose slender spine agricultural society climbed, until Jesus arrived, born amidst the hungry masses, starved by Roman taxes. The Christ proclaimed, "Give us this day our daily bread," and likened his being in heaven as the body needs bread to survive, and bread became love. But where bread was withheld, there was murder in the land. Food of peasantry and royalty, but kings did not grow the grain they reaped, and stealing food from farmers killed the land, killed hope, and murdered masses, sure as slain by sword are left to starve in the streets. Again and again, The history of humankind, of oppression, is built from stealing food from the mouths of those who grow it. Starve the farmers and kingdoms fall. Starve the earth and we will all fail. Starvation is murder. Poverty, a death sentence. As a people of abundance, are we willing to stay the execution? A person cannot eat compassion, will not thrive on empathy. Faith alone is fuel, but not food. We must feed one another. There is no freedom until we are all fed. There is no freedom until we all are fed. Let us then be sustenance, seed, and sun for one another. Let us share our abundance and trust in enough. In the words of Unitarian mystic Jacob Trapp, simply to be and to let things be as they speak wordlessly from the mystery of what they are, simply to say a silent yes to the hillside flowers, to the trees we walk under, to pass from one person to another a morsel of bread, an answering yes. This is the simplest, the quietest of sacraments. May it be so. We set aside time in our Sundays together to share from our own lives those sorrows and celebrations, our gratitudes, our hopes, and our fears. You're invited to light a candle of hope in silence, or if there is a milestone, or sorrow, or celebration in your life you wish to share, please come to the microphone. I'll ask for two first candles. The first one is a candle of concern for Bay Miller, who is in a hospital still in quite serious condition. And the second, a candle of celebration because it is Brenda's birthday. Happy birthday, Brenda.
I am going to light a candle of celebration because my daughter has accepted a job at the Shaw Festival, which is in Niagara-on-the-Lake, and I now live in Niagara, so it's kind of sad for my son because he still lives here and he'll miss her, but it's super joyful for me.
I'm lighting two candles today. One is for my daughter, Sarah, and the other is for the starving people in Gaza.
I'm Jessica. I lit a candle of gratitude for this faith that gives us so many opportunities to make the world a better place. And a candle of celebration. Ryan and I are celebrating 27 years together tomorrow.
Hello, I'm Mel. I'm lighting a candle of celebration. My parents are visiting. They are in the back row. And even better, my mom's birthday is also today.
My name is Kathy. I'm lighting a candle of gratitude for my older sister, Ginny, who is in her 5th year of cancer and continues to be such a blessing to me.
We'll light a final candle for all those joys and sorrows here unspoken, but precious in our hearts. Will you join in singing our pastoral prayer, Spirit of Life? Our meditation is by Neil Douglas Klotz. Grant what we need each day in bread and insight, substance for the call of growing life. Give us the food we need to grow through each new day, through each illumination of life's needs. Let the measure of our need be earthiness. Give all things simple, verdant, passionate. Produce in us, for us, the possible, each only human step toward home lit up. Help us fulfill what lies within the circle of our lives. Each day we ask no more, no less. Animate the earth within us. We then feel the wisdom underneath, supporting all. Generate through us the bread of life. We hold only what is asked to feed the next month. Grant what we need each day in bread and insight. So it's a particularly hard season, it seems, politically and otherwise, to attempt to talk about gratitude. And because the world seems to have gone to shit, I thought that we could be grateful for manure today. And that's kind of all I can think of. So some of you may remember back in the day, pre-social media, we used to end up on those endless joke email strands, right? You couldn't convince your friends to please stop sending you lists and lists of joke emails. But one of them I did save, and because it's so particular to a potential gratitude of the gifts of manure. So this was from a joke email that said, euphemistically, "It happens." According to Taoism, it happens. In Islam, it happens if it is the will of Allah. Communism, it equally happens to all people. Hindus chant, "It has happened before." Wiccan, "And it harm none, let it happen." In Zen Buddhism, what is the sound of one it happening? Atheism, "I don't believe in it." Unitarian Universalists affirm the right for it to happen. It doesn't matter more than its process. 12-step programs announce it happens one day at a time. Existentialism, it doesn't happen, it just is. And according to the Red Cross, it happened, send money. Silliness aside, we can take a look at 3 wisdom teachings about the value of manure. That is, how we extract worth and growth from the worst of the waste. From the Christian tradition, we have the parable of the fig tree. A writer from Duke Divinity School retells this story from Luke this way. Jesus tells us that the manure that happens in a fallen world has one powerful side effect. It creates clarity about what matters. Encountered tragedy tears open a holy space in us where we feel and know the fragility and precariousness of our lives in a fallen world. Once there was a man who planted a fig tree in his vineyard. He digs and digs and works to get that fig tree into the ground. And year after year, he waits and waits and waits for the fig tree to bear fruit. He loves figs. There is nothing sweeter, more delightful than a fig. So he watches that fig tree grow every day, and he dreams about the figs. If he was a pious man, he let the fig tree grow for 3 years before he even started looking for fruit. And this man has waited for another 3 years on top of that. Day after day, he comes craning his neck, looking for that first fig, almost tasting it on his tongue in anticipation, and nothing. Nothing. And how long can you wait? How long can you wait with a fig tree, with a church, with a job, with an addict, with a marriage, with a life that is bearing no fruit? How long can you wait? That fig tree is just taking and taking and taking from the earth, never giving anything back, pretty much the way we often treat the earth. That fig tree is just sucking up all the resources of the soil, absorbing all the nutrients and moisture of the dirt. It's like a cancer in the vineyard, not leaving enough for the other plants. The grapevines are all crying out to the vineyard owner, "How long, Lord? How long are we going to have to live with this fig tree?" That fig tree is not just an innocent waste of space, it's harming the vineyard. And day after day after day, for twice as long as the tree needed to bear fruit, the vineyard owner frisks the tree for any sign of a fig, and he listens to the vines calling out for some relief. Finally, he tells the gardener, just cut the thing down. Just grab the chainsaw. Let's at least make some firewood out of this so-called fig tree. That's apparently the only thing we're going to get out of it. At least now it can't do any more harm. But there's this gardener. And the gardener says, look, let's wait. Let's wait one more year. Let me dig around it and work with it. There is this manure that has happened because manure happens. There is this manure that has happened over here apart from the tree, but I can work with that. I can use that. We can make compost, fertilizer out of that manure and connect the tree with it. We don't let anything go to waste around this vineyard. Maybe I can use some of the manure to help this tree make some figs. I have these times. Do you have these times where you look at this world and you see all that is wrong with it? You see all the manure that happens. You see people who just take and take and take and never give anything back and harm others and seem rewarded for it. And you look at the world and almost want to say, cut it down. Just cut it down and start over. That's our work, isn't it? To stay hopeful gardeners of our values, steadfast minders of all this manure. After all, we know it happens. In Buddhism, we chant Om Mani Padme Hum, meaning the jewel in the lotus. The lotus is a beautiful flower which grows in the muddiest, sludgiest swamps around. Unfurling its blossom, it remains unbesmirched by the surrounding grime, though thoroughly and permanently rooted in mud, its long stalk trailing upwards through muck and mire, it opens to the sun, a spot of glory in an inglorious swamp surrounding it, which sustains it. A pearl of wisdom from Buddhism is the intention for keeping balance in our attitudes and intentions. We say, may all beings dwell in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. At first, such advice seems counterintuitive, but make no mistake, it's not about being grateful for pain. Acceptance is not about resignation, and striving for non-attachment is not the same as being detached in denial of our circumstances. Instead, equanimity, balance, helps us be more open to things as they are, instead of being stuck in what we yearn for in the future or stuck in what we wished had been different about the past or the present. It is a call to be radically present in our lives so that we can engage fully in every moment. It is part of the human condition to dwell between the tensions of triumph and tragedy. When we oversimplify our lives by inventing neat divisions between opposites, choosing falsely between one or another. When we deny our grief and aspire only to joy, we will find that joy always handicapped. I'm not suggesting that we should all become grateful pessimists, but neither should we become optimists in denial. Gabor Mate is a Canadian physician who specializes in the effects of trauma. In his book, When the Body Says No, he recommends we embrace the power of negative thinking. You heard me right. Embrace the power of negative thinking. He contends that a false optimism without recognizing the blessed and natural mix of our experience is harmful. It creates false expectations, promotes an unattainable perfectionism, and the subsequent denial creates a cognitive dissonance in our being, in our mind, body, and soul that generates rather than abates stress. The refusal or denial or avoidance of negative realities binds us further to our anxiety, freezes us in psychic paralysis, and imprisons us in a fog of delusion that prevents us from grappling with our very real, courageous vulnerabilities that otherwise help us connect to one another and explore possibilities for learning and growing and healing. Negative thinking, Mate says, requires courage to look at ourselves the way we really are, removing the rose-colored glasses, not to blame others, but owning responsibility for one's relationships. We have nothing to fear from truth. We must not hide from it. So when we are faced with a walk through a lovely pasture, but one freshly fertilized with ripe manure, we have a choice of how to walk. We can fall face down in the mire, despairing that our pasture is soiled. We can gingerly step across and then stop, stuck in the muck, sighing because our favorite shoes are ruined and smelly. We can stand stock still at the edge, refusing to step in. Or we can pick our way across that pasture, choosing our steps one at a time, placing one foot at a time, and know that manure will be embedded deep in the treads of our shoes, all the way to the sole, that we will trek it through the house, into the carpet, and across greener pastures ahead, and trust that still they will come clean again. And even if not, we're at least doing our part to fertilize the planet. Yes, we are called to engage in each step mindfully, with curiosity, courage, and compassion. Curiosity? What's that smell? Courage. I'm going to keep walking and trust I can clean my shoes later. And compassion. Well, some farmer has really been busy ensuring this will be a bumper crop. We walk on, knowing that fertilizer and fertility are not opposites, but complements to one another. Yes, it happens. Manure happens, and joy happens. And loss happens, and prosperity happens, and hope abounds. Because from these unhappy mounds of manure, the harvest grows. From weeping, patient sowing, the reaping is realized. From labor is born abundance. Our lives are led in the balance of both these images, that to flourish, we need light and dark. We need nutrients gleaned from all sources, from sunlight to dank manure. And from these, we grow in faith, we grow in love, we grow our strength, curiosity, courage, and compassion. On this blessed Thanksgiving weekend, may it be so. Will you rise and join in singing number 207? 207 in the gray hymnals. Earth was given as a garden. Barton says, help us to be the always hopeful gardeners of the Spirit who know that without darkness, nothing comes to birth, as without light, nothing flowers. The people say, Amen.